The net silver shortage for 2020 could be 318.5 million ounces. Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. On a rather exciting Monday, I guess it's nighttime here, but certainly a wild roller coaster in the silver market, as we will dig into, as well as a really interesting note from the Silver Institute about what they see not as a possibility, but their expected silver shortage in 2020. So we will dig in. Although before we begin here, fortunate to have a lot of sponsors to the show. Although tonight's video is sponsored by The Big Silver Short. Yes, that is the book that I released earlier this year. Really wanted to create something that if someone was new to silver, knew nothing about any of this stuff we talk about every night here, which can stay posted by hitting that subscription button and notification bell. But if you knew nothing and were just starting, the whole point of the book was to lay things out. That's why it was done interview style format. It wasn't just me, but getting all these silver experts that I have on the show, all their perspectives. So you can hear a lot of these things confirmed and the same conclusion that basically everybody seems to reach when they think it through. Anyway, is available in audio and paperback and Kindle. It makes a great Christmas gift, a great Hanukkah gift. I'm sure in other cultures, nations, and religions and spiritualities make a great gift there too. So anyway, that is The Big Silver Short. We'll have a note on that later on. But let's get into the action today. Here is the chart of silver. Let's refresh that so you get the latest tick here. So you see silver 2260-ish, pretty close to where it opened, but I started getting the text messages last night as traded lower again. I don't know. I mean, we've seen a trade spike up in the middle of the night, so you know, things happen during the weekend. There are orders. I remember from my American stock exchange days before we moved over to the New York Stock Exchange, especially when I was clerking on the options floor. And there was this process where it was like people submitted orders before the open. So it was a big clusterfuck, you know, excuse my language, but getting the open and, you know, there were all these orders sending in and price discovery was happening. So anyway, I mean, it's not to say that, you know, the can't be things happening, but anyway, you saw it get hammered. And then interesting though, because throughout the day, especially after the open here in New York, traded up, big spike up there. I did not look at the volume chart yet, but will be interesting to take a look at that. By the way, for anyone who's been looking at those volume charts that I pull up there, it's an app on my phone called Commodities, and there's a couple of them. So if you type in Commodities into your app, yeah, some interesting volume, and you can see it for yourself that way. But yeah, any smartphone, go download that Commodities app. You can see the volume. God only knows what happened here. I know first Tuesday of the month is actually this week, although I think Andrew McGuire will be coming on next week. So will be interesting to check in with him, see what he thinks happened here. I'm sure the CFTC is going to be giving some guidance. And maybe what stands out to me, again, I don't want to just say like every time the price goes down, you know, it's because of massive amounts of paper volume hammered on the market. But I mean, even that aside, I think a lot of you saw that video I did with Andy Schechtman the other night where I asked him, I said, can you give me some numbers of how many buyers versus sellers? And he said in the last 7 days, I think it was 227 or 231 to 4. Yeah, I think he said there were 231 orders, 4 people sold. So that just seems to not match. And I know there's some people out there, critics say, well, JP Morgan got fined for spoofing, not suppressing the market. Well, I mean, I think that might be semantics a little bit, but they got fined because they did something that altered the price of the market. So not disputing they could manipulate the market upwards. And we've seen these banks, you can go back and look. They're actually, I'll pull it up and you won't have to go back anywhere. We'll get to that one next, where you can see the banks get flat. They never really seem to get long in these recent couple of years, but they get flat. The price starts going up. They get really short, the price starts going down. So, I mean, it's not completely random. But anyway, here's the last week. So what is today? Let's call it the 7-day period, somewhere around here, where the price goes from 24 to 23, while physical dealers report 227 to 4 buy to sell ratio. So whatever you want to call that, manipulated, suppressed. So here we're looking at the commitment of traders report. I mean, it's really quite special. You see that red line, basically that's the commercials. By the way, Deso coming on the show tomorrow to dig into COMEX. Actually going to see Rob Keenslater tonight. So we'll be talking to him, getting a lot of COMEX coverage. I know these guys are a little closer to deciphering these reports, although I'm planning to also get Ted Butler on for a forecast. So we'll get some people looking at it, but just as a broad metric, the closer this red line is, there's zero. They get flat. Then here the banks start getting short. Once they're at the peak short, price comes down. Here they get flat, the price goes up a little bit, then they get really short. Here the decline comes. Now you see a big decline here. Notice that it's when they were most short. So you can actually take this back 5 years as well, or 20 years for that matter. Let's take the 20-year chart. I'm gonna freelance a little bit today. I'm going off the script because this is just so darn interesting. Let's look at what happened. Here's back in 2008 when Bart Chilton confirmed that Bear took over JP Morgan took over the position from Bear over the legal limits. And it looks like somebody was short a lot of contracts right before that price fell off the cliff there. And then there's the run up to 50. Interesting. I guess I would need to zoom in a little bit more on that, but kind of choppy, so moves both directions. But here, let's see, right at the top there, I would say they were a bit short. Again, here they get really short, didn't come down as much. So, I mean, it's not an exact science, but I find it's pretty darn close. And yeah, send this to your CFTC regulators, who you can tag on Twitter. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to them, although I think these are legitimate questions. Bart Chilton, who presided over the agency's first investigation when they said there was nothing going on, he said there was, and now we have a $920 million fine and a lot of people who lost money that hopefully are going to get reimbursed from some class action suits, which I'm also researching into. I talked to my lawyer buddy the other day, so more to report soon. A lot of things going on here, but anyway, that is your commitment of traders. This is barchart.com, great site. So interestingly, you can see this pattern holds in many of the other commodities. I'm having fun looking at look at the platinum chart. Guess what this peak is right here? I don't know if you can see the thing with my head there. Let's see. This is March of 2008. So platinum, that banks have also confessed to rigging, spoofing, whatever you want to call it, hit its peak March of 2008, coincidentally the same month as the Bear Stearns JP Morgan deal. And wonder what happened with their book getting transferred over on that one. Interesting. Again, I'm not really a chartist, although we will be having Christopher Mullen come on with his 2021 forecast in this Silver December to remember. But I mean, it goes all the way down and then comes right back up. I don't know. Maybe we'll see if we can get some. If anyone knows how to get the trading records, if anyone knows how I can get data, anything closer than what I'm seeing, please send me an email through the site. It'd be fun to dig into. And yeah, feel free to send these to the CFTC or your local congressmen or senators. I mean, again, you don't have to do anything, but you know, if these are the same questions that you have and you want something laid out clearly, not just like wake up one day and say, oh, I'm going to accuse the markets of being rigged, although markets are rigged, you know, so it is. Anyway, speaking of things that look a lot more legitimate, here we have Kinesis, our good friend Andrew McGuire, and look at this. Again, I'm not sure if the picture of me is covering that title, but secure and fully audited vault storage. They sent me, I'm on their email list. So I get an email, I believe it was maybe a couple days ago, saying, hey, we have an audit. And then you click on it, and look at that. Goodness, what? Yeah, anyone who's associated with Fort Knox, take some notes here. Look, they had someone go and do an audit. Ooh, look, ABX produced an inventory report. I won't go through the whole thing here. Bureau Veritas. I'm not familiar with them, but I'm sure you can look up, find plenty more about it. Looks like a pretty thorough audit here. I'm not an auditor, although Rob Keens is. So if you have questions, you can email Rob on that. I mean, I'll run this by him. It looks like a pretty thorough audit report to me. And, you know, again, this is the kind of thing that I would do if I were running a legitimate gold and silver vault or crypto-backed product like they are here. So we won't scroll all the way down. Although I think it is like lists of bars and, you know, all this stuff that why can't the U.S. government do that? I mean, it made me start thinking about Fort Knox and, you know, here, so that video from when they had a few people, this dog and pony show, they have these yahoos go in there and they're playing with the silver bar. Keep in mind in this clip, I don't know, maybe there's other footage out there, but it looks like they only opened one room. You know, hey, hopefully it's in there. I don't claim to know. I did drive by it once, and there wasn't, at least when you drive by, it looks like there is nobody out there. Or at least that day it looked like there was nobody out there. I mean, I've since seen their little towers near on the sides where I guess there's a guard, but who knows? But I mean, again, maybe more the issue is that the comparison. Here's Kinesis hiring someone, providing, you don't have to chase them down. Anybody, and I might add, if anyone has questions about Kinesis, any of the technicals, there's a good friend of mine, Gavin Coates, who I knew before he was part of Kinesis. Referred several people to him. Deborah, that's a shout out to you, my friend. Was a big Gavin fan. Gavin will help you with any of these questions because I think it's very appropriate to be asking, is the stuff legitimately there? But again, maybe the only other thing, I mean, we could have Rob take a look at it since he has auditor experience, but you know, I just wonder why the Fort Knox, why they can't do that. I mean, it's just the government just treats its customers so terribly in every way. Here's another video I started watching, this one, although I really want to click on this one here. What's really inside Fort Knox? Who knows? It's just, but I'm gonna stay focused here and finish this video tonight. Great article. We have the Shift Gold version. But, instead of an audit, you get Steve Mnuchin, a former Hollywood movie producer, who says, I assume the gold is still there. It would really be quite a movie if we walked in and there was no gold. All right. I think that was actually the day of the eclipse or that equinox back in, what was this, 2017. I've heard that before. I'm not sure if that's actually true, but you can look that up at home, kids. But anyway, at the very least, an inappropriate statement. Here's Kinesis. They're sending you the information. Here's the government. And I mean, talk about anyone that has no excuse for like budget or the cost. I mean, these guys waste so much money. Skidmore, Dr. Mark Skidmore and Catherine Austin Fitts. I mean, they find $21 trillion of missing money, and the only response is FASB 56 and to take the documents down. So, that you can't hire an auditing firm for the nation's wealth, and Ben Bernanke doesn't understand why it's there. And we see our largest trading counterparties and the countries like China that produce so many goods taking massive chunks of gold. I'm calling BS on that with all due respect. Try to be respectful, although it's like some of this stuff, it's like, I don't know like how to phrase it when someone's like clearly lying to your face. Although I did start something I've mapped out years ago was what I would do if I were president. It's a lot of great stuff, in my opinion. Again, maybe it's good I'm not president, but really from it's a pure Austrian free market platform where you just dissolve all of these gangster agencies that really have no legitimate claim. I mean, I think there was, I'm gonna rile the constitutionalists up here, wasn't there like an amendment passed so you could have the IRS and the income tax created? So we had the Constitution, we're following that, and then it's like, oh, we need to collect tax money. So I guess the Constitution wasn't perfect. Now it's okay to collect tax money. It all just seems quite silly. So but imagine if you dissolve some of these concepts that I don't feel are anyway free market or honoring personal will or serving the people. I mean, the money goes and disappears into black holes. And I was listening to Jim Rogers, his interview in the original Jack Schwager Market Wizards book over the weekend, which I believe was recorded in 1989. And he said that the U.S. pays $150 billion per year for the troops that it houses in Europe. Now, I've looked for verification of that. I don't know if he meant million or but that was what he said in the book, and I'm thinking, gee, so over 10 years, that's 1.5 trillion at that pace, and I'm sure the numbers just get bigger. Maybe that's where the missing 21 trillion went to. But it's like you think about these things, and hey, it's just rather stunning. Although Ben Bernanke doesn't understand why the gold is there. Yet here we have a rally will petition Australian Central Bank to audit and repatriate gold reserves. So gold advocates at a rally Tuesday outside the headquarters of the Reserve Bank of Australia. Wow, this campaign's organizer, Samuel Henson, filmmaker in Sydney. Well, I will reach out to him and would love to hear more about this. This sounds like fun. And I know we have a lot of people who are watching out there in Australia. So, I don't know, maybe we can, all right, I'm organizing a field trip to Fort Knox. We can stand outside there with some signs and get a audit of Fort Knox. Won't hold my breath, but it'd be fun. I'm not sure how far Kentucky is from here, but leave a comment below if you'd like to have a Fort Knox field trip, and maybe we'll do that. Some other fun events coming up this year. we were discussing in the comments last night. By the way, when these videos premiere every night at 9 p.m. Eastern, Sunday at noon Eastern, a lot of fun folks join in for the live chat. A lot of people making friends, and we have some regulars, and we discuss a lot of fun things, including some events. I know people have asked, is there a mid-year Silverfest? I think there's only going to be one Silverfest called Silverfest, but certainly would like to start getting some other events going and things that will be like Silverfest. I'm down here in Austin, Texas, so say some sort of glorious mid-year party where we find a great house with a pool and a hot tub and a lot of silver fans and investors and companies and glorious stuff. But anyway, a lot going on. I told you I was excited tonight. So anyway, we will leave that one there. Here now for the headline. Sorry I'm getting to it a little bit late, but hopefully you're enjoying the show. But here was a note from the Silver Institute. And here's the stunner. It looks like net investment in exchange-traded products will reach 350 million ounces. When you factor in this demand, which is touted as physical demand, but may be largely on paper, the net silver shortage for 2020 could be 318.5 million ounces. So does that mean that because the Silver Institute says that? I mean, all of this stuff is based on estimates. So, I mean, you know, is it 0.5 versus 0.6? But certainly at least that given all the data that they have access to, and here in that report. So if you go, this is the numismatic news, or you can just go to Google Silver Institute, but click on that report and you see right here the 318.5. That, if you can see up here, I don't know if my head is blocking it again, but that's the expected number for 2020. Again, reflecting how much of the mine supply was shut down. Andy Schechtman said he had 231 orders, only 4 people sold. Yet on the COMEX, you know, just price drops a couple bucks. Makes sense. But if you don't want to wait for the CFTC to explain it, again, The Big Silver Short, good book, laid out pretty clearly. Might add, we saw part of what was forecast here played out. I guess I would say it's safe. I don't know if I'm on record or technically. I think we're going to see something at least north of 50. I behave myself in public, although I don't know. I think we will see numbers significantly bigger than that at some point. I mean, at some point, because at some point they're going to melt down the currency. Maybe it'll be when a slice of pizza is $100. But anyway, all laid out there. So again, you see now we have a deficit. And one last sign. Hope I take a deep breath, everybody. Oh, it's crypto screen. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to burn. But you see here the cryptos, which I keep an eye on. I have some cryptos. I guess I'm not 100% silver, although I'd say it's like 90% silver or 95% silver, which includes miners, options on miners. I still have like some cryptos left over from 2017. So. And to clarify that, I think they're on the same team. I know that a lot of people get flustered, especially they say, well, is the metals not going up because the crypto is taking away that investment dollar? I don't know. I mean, I get it. I mean, and maybe that could be yet. Here, I don't know. It's like 580 billion. Now this has obviously gone up a lot in the last couple of months, but in silver, I don't know. estimates 2 to 3 billion ounces in investment grade form at $25. So that's 50, $75 billion. I mean, yet again, I don't know this for sure. This is just my own, based on my own experience and conversations. I get the feeling that whoever invented Bitcoin was someone who got the libertarian Austrian economics concept. And I think of the cryptos, forget Bitcoin, forget the name of any one of these. And here we go. There's here the 34, 36 here. Probably 2 or 3 of them will exist 10 years from now. Or I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say probably. Maybe. I'm not claiming to be a crypto expert here. Yet what I when people say, well, there's nothing there. Well, there's not really that much there in a bank account. It's a number on a screen, or, I mean, just compare, forget about gold and silver for a second. Compare Bitcoin, forget about Bitcoin too. Compare cryptos to the dollar, where let's say you wanted to go live in another country and you have money in an American bank account. Well, or let's say you wanted to get on a plane somewhere and transfer wealth, or even like, forget about that. I know that the idea, like, why would someone want to take their money out of the country is not American, or I think we're about to see, especially if Joe Biden is confirmed, I wonder if we're about to see a lot of capital flight from the U.S. And again, I think of the cryptos replacing like a MasterCard or a Visa or a transfer mechanism. Like, look at the way people are using Venmo now. I think it's an extension of that, where if the only thing is that it can't be reproduced like the dollar. So anyway, I'm not trying to sell cryptos to anyone, and I'll stop that part there. But I guess what I'm going to keep an eye on, I would continue to wonder if there will be a connection in the price. I guess the way I've imagined it for years is that there will be some day where there's an overt Lehman moment for the dollar, where it's like, hey, something happened. I mean, it's like we've kind of had that, yet, I mean, we still don't know. It's a year later. Fed never tells us about the repos or anything else. So, I mean, maybe it even already happened and we don't know, but I mean, when it really happens, when it really is something that catches people's attention, I've imagined that both the metals and cryptos, it'll be kind of binary, where maybe silver will, I don't know, finally move this year, but I think there will be a break point. That's my guess. I'm not based on any inside information, just my studies of markets. That's my intuitive feel. And so anyway, I guess the fact that Bitcoin is back near, very close to the $20,000 mark, I don't know if there's any connection to anything that we will see in the metals, but will be interesting to see if Bitcoin shoots up to 25 or 30,000 pretty quickly. How that affects the metals. And one last thought here is that I applaud, and I mean, the more money that goes into the cryptos, the prices go up. Any money out of the dollar or these fiat currencies, I think, is a net great thing. But B, rather than seeing it as a negative for the metals, I mean, goodness, if there's not hypothetical, I mean, you guys know I do stuff with Miles Franklin, and when we think about different advertising options, there's a market that I want to advertise silver to, because they get it. It's a very similar mindset. They understand these issues. And a lot of the crypto guys read about how the Trump administration and CFTC's Chris Giancarlo were bragging about popping the bubble by the advent of the crypto bubble, by the advent of futures. And where could they have learned that? So I don't know. I think there could be a connection. It's not to say that there definitely will be, but interesting to see Bitcoin close to 20,000 again. So there we go. Sorry, it's a little long-winded, but anyway, we're having fun tonight. I got furniture. I'm finally settled in here in Austin, so feels good. Gonna see Rob later. All life is good. Lastly, here again is the big silver short. So with Christmas coming up, you can get it combo pack with Rigged and Why Gold, Why Now. I think a lot of people liked it. We have 93 ratings. Thank you for everyone who left a rating. We got 4.5 stars there. Again, available in audio version as well. Makes a great Christmas gift. If you place an order with Miles Franklin this week, I might add, that will score you a complimentary audio copy of the book. So that's Arcadia at milesfranklin.com for anyone who wants to buy silver or gold. Or if you want to sell silver or gold, we do buybacks as well. So with that said, before we wrap up tonight, I do have one treat here, and let me make sure that is queued up properly, because a lot of people have asked out where it comes from. And that was one of the albums I recorded a couple of years back, and part of why I came to Austin was to play music and get a lot of things up and going again. And I figured if we're going to create Arcadia, we're going to need a band. So here is one of the songs from my old band that will be carried over. This is the warm-up monster. So with that said, thanks as always for being here. The financial portion is done. Although if you want to hear a song that I personally love and think you'll enjoy, well, here you go.